platform in 2016, and we looked at all the different providers that were in the market, and we thought two things immediately. One, we could do better. Our company at the time was doing a lot of consulting. We do a lot of boutique work for big brands like the NFL and Ralph Lauren, and all the mobile work for Jason's Deli, the restaurant chain. So when we looked at what was really in the market, it wasn't great. And it was really expensive. So we kind of put our heads together, and for about a year worked nonstop and launched Project Braodcast in October of 2017 with the intent of providing text marketing to small entrepreneurs and small business owners. Our real heart is in direct sales and network marketing. We've been close to that market for over a decade. We've even written apps for actual network marketing companies. So we know a lot about the business. I've written books for the network marketing industry, spoken on many national stages. So I feel like we have really good insight to provide tools to this industry, and it not just be someone who has a texting platform that doesn't really know how these businesses work. And one of the big, components of building something that works well for this industry is it has to be super affordable, because you can't tell a new consultant, hey, go spend $100 on this tool every month to grow your business. They're not going to do it. Like, they're just not going to do it. So, our big challenge was, how do we drive more features than everyone else, and how do we make it affordable so that literally anyone who wants to do texting as a part of their business can do it? And that's really kind of where Project Braodcast came from, and it's where it continues to come from. I think we support 35 different Facebook groups now for different network marketing direct sales companies. And all of the features that you see that we roll out, most of them come from ideas that we get from talking to people in our industry that are like, man, I really need this for my business. How can we do that in Project Braodcast? And then we go back and we think about, how do we build features that works for everyone, and then implement that into the platform. So I say all that to say, I'm one of you. I have been a lover of this industry for over a decade. And, we've built products for this industry for a decade. And, we're close to it. So we speak your language. I always tell people, I'm like you, you're like me, we're like each other, like that's really how we are. So that's where it came from.
That was like such a huge relief to me, because it was kind of one of those things where I was like, how does this work so good for me? Like, I don't know if it's made for me, but to learn just that it was really made for us gave me just that much more encouragement and excitement about Project Braodcast. So,
and we do support other, we support restaurants and schools and churches and nonprofits and big companies, but our real heart is in driving value to the network marketing direct sales leaders, because we think, maybe you guys disagree, but we think it's really underserved. There really isn't great software for our market, and we feel like that's a void we want to fill. We want to build great software that real professionals in our industry can go use and be successful with. And I know, so I don't know how much, I know there's folks on here that are brand new. Actually, I saw the chat kind of blow up. People who don't have it, people who do have it. So when I do these calls, I start at like the really high level. So if you're already a user, just know you might be bored for the first 5 or 10 minutes, because you got to understand there are some people on the call that have no idea what Project Braodcast is, what text marketing is. So I like to just give people a high level of like what that even is. If you've gone to a restaurant or a salon or a dentist office and you get text messages, from those businesses, and it might be a reminder for an appointment, or maybe you went to a barbecue place and they had, text beef to a phone number and you learn about how they raise their cattle. That's a form of text marketing, right? All that's a form of text marketing. The business wants to communicate with you and they want to do it over texting. We feel like texting is really crucial in today's society for communicating with people. And it's not something that I have to sell to people. If you look at your phone and you look at all the different apps on your phone, you've got Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Clubhouse, WhatsApp, Telegram, Signal, Project Braodcast, your phone's voicemail, your phone's text messaging app, and you look at the badges on those applications, which represent how many unread messages you have. Most of the time, your texting application has the lowest badge of anything else on your phone. And forget Project Broadcast. This has nothing to do with Project Broadcast. All that means is that as a human, you will answer a text before you respond to a voicemail, an email, a Facebook message, an Instagram message. So just as people, we text each other and we read our texts and we respond to our texts. So if we know that that channel is really useful for communicating with people, why aren't we using that channel for our business? Because that's where people are communicating. So that's our belief. And our belief is that in order to be successful at it, it has to be from a real phone number. You can use texting platforms where the messages come from what are called short codes. They're not real phone numbers. They're like 5 digits. But we are also programmed that we now know in our brain, when we get a message from one of those little short numbers, it's spam. And there's not a person, there's not a guy at Chili's texting me that there's $1 off fried pickles today. That ain't coming from a guy, right? That's some system somewhere sending me the message. I'm not going to respond to him and say, I hope he's having a great day and how fresh are the pickles. He's not going to answer, right? So we believe really strongly that in order to be successful, it's got to be a real phone number. So in Project Broadcast, when you sign up, you go through the sign up process and you tell us what state you're in, and we give you a list of phone numbers and you pick one of those phone numbers. And that is your Project Broadcast phone number. It's a real phone number. You can send and receive text messages on the phone number. You can make and receive phone calls on the number. It's effectively a full business phone number. So we've talked about like why we think texting is important, why we think texting is good as a channel. The other thing that I started talking about recently was, maybe it's a month ago now, Facebook had a big outage, right? There was a big outage that lasted for many hours, and it affected Facebook, it affected Instagram, it affected WhatsApp. And for many people who drive their business purely on social, their business was down because they couldn't be on those platforms. And I think, and maybe this is an opinion, or not, maybe it is an opinion, I'm highly opinionated, I mean, I'm right. I think social media is going to continue to fragment, meaning you're going to continue to have new social media platforms, crop up. I remember when MySpace was it. And, I had my MySpace page all decked out and sparkles in the background. And then Facebook came along, and then, Snapchat came along. I think that's going to continue to fragment. You're going to continue to see TikToks and Clubhouses and networks expand. The problem with that, though, is that fragmentation makes it difficult to communicate on all those different platforms. The other thing that's difficult is that if your community is fully locked up in something like Instagram, well, if Instagram is down, you can't reach your audience, right? It's an island you can't get to. So it's important to think about, how do I take all of these different areas of influence that I'm creating, and how do I curate that into something I own and something that I have as a list that's for me? And I can either email people or text them or send them snail mail if I want to. But when Insta was down, let's say you had 1,000 followers on Insta. If Insta's down and you want to message your 1,000 followers about a sale or a promo, or just tell them I hope they're having a great day, can't do it because Insta's down. And it doesn't say texting doesn't go down, because it's been down before, but it's not common. It'd be very uncommon for the entire texting network to be unavailable. So we
sent a really fun message to my customers that day. That was just like, hey, what did you do with your free day from social media?
It was actually our largest sign-up day of the year. And I think what was happening was that leaders who use Project Broadcast were probably getting bombarded by text from people on their team, like, oh my God, Facebook's down. What do I do? I have a party tonight, or I'm doing this, or I have a class scheduled. And they were saying, well, I use Project Broadcast and I'm still talking with my people. And, I think people went and signed up as a result of that, which is pretty cool. So now that you kind of have an idea of like text marketing at a high level and where Project Broadcast came from, the thing I like to talk about most is, great, but how do I use it? Like, why is that important? Who cares? And this is where you get into just strategy. And we talk about, as a direct sales, network marketing, social seller, how do you leverage texting? And there's a ton of ways to think about, how you're communicating with your customers or not communicating with your customers that PB can help with. So You got to think about, how are you doing prospecting today? You could use Project Broadcast for prospecting. You could use keywords and campaigns to drive people into your Project Broadcast and teach them about your product. How are you doing new consultant onboarding? Like, how do you teach people how to do the business? You can use Project Broadcast for onboarding. How do you do customer follow-up? Or are you doing customer follow-up? Maybe is a better question. You can use Project Broadcast for doing follow-up, where you set up a 222 or 333 style campaign to follow up with customers. What are you doing for just gratitude messages? Like, do you send messages today to just people who are great customers in the business? You could do that with Project Broadcast. Or do you send messages to people on their anniversary of being a consultant in your team? Right? These are, I call these opportunity lists, and I'm really big on this term. When you start out marketing, I feel it's important that you want to create reasons to connect with people that are low friction. And the reason I say low friction is that typically when you're new, friction causes you to shut down, right? If you think you're going to get backlash, or people are not going to respond positively, you typically will kind of shut down internally. So if you think of reasons that are low friction to start with, like, what are reasons I can reach out to people and communicate with them where it's pretty low friction? There's low risk of me getting my feelings hurt, because ultimately it just happens, right? When we reach out and we get our feelings hurt, we kind of shut down, and there's a time that takes for us to recover from that. And we do get better, and that time gets shorter and shorter. But when you first start out, you want low friction. And if you think about low friction ways to reach out to people, I call that your opportunity list. What are the different ways to reach out to people? And only one thing on that list is ask them to buy something. Only one. Everything else is like, how do you drive value to people, and how do you engage with them, to where when you do want to ask them to buy something, it doesn't feel like you're being salesy and that's the only relationship they have with you is buying something from you, which is, and it's a balance to find. So you think about, like, take your products that you have, like, give me a name of one of your products, Katie.
BioCell.
All right. So give me just what's the top three things you would, if I asked you, why would I use BioCell? What would be the top three things?
Skin health, gut health, and anti-aging.
Okay. So what I would do is, in Project Broadcast, I would create like a keyword just for BioCell, where I market BioCell with my cool spoon on my social platforms. And I'm like, if you want to learn more about BioCell, text BioCell to this phone number. And I'd have a campaign. Maybe there's only 3 messages, where those 3 messages are those 3 things. Here's why BioCell is awesome. And then the 4th message would be driving them to go make a purchase. Or don't you have a product called Trim as well?
Yep, our amazing weight loss supplement.
So let's say you wanted to do like a weight loss challenge with your audience, and it's all around Trim. You could set up campaigns in Project Broadcast to interact with people that use the Trim product, like even existing customers. You can message existing customers and say, hey, I'm going to do a 60-day whatever weight loss challenge, and we're all going to be using Trim, and I'm going to be checking up on everyone. And then you drip content on them over those 60 days to help keep them accountable for the challenge. So that you got to think about, like, to me, it's all about value. Like, how do you drive value to existing customers and prospecting, to bring new people in? And then you say, could Project Broadcast help me with that? Instead of, some people will start with, well, I signed up for Project Broadcast today and I don't know what to do. And most of the time that's because the step of first strategizing, like what you want to go solve in the business, hasn't been done. So first sit down and think about, like, how am I doing onboarding for customers? How am I doing onboarding for consultants? How am I doing customer follow-up? How am I doing gratitude messages for, just awesome customers? Am I sending birthday messages out to customers and team members? Am I sending team anniversary messages for being in the business? How am I educating my customers on the product? How am I educating prospects on the product, driving sales? All of that stuff can be done with Project Broadcast, all of it.
And so I'll tell you just like a small example. Well, first of all, when I was overwhelmed when I first started with Project Broadcast, because I hadn't committed to a texting, program before, because they were very expensive, like didn't even compare to the pricing of Project Broadcast. So I think it's $15, right, for your basic package right
It's
now.
$15 for our starter plan.
So, but the ones I was looking at that my friends in my business were using were around like 140 for like a decent one. And they had nothing close to the capability of Project Broadcast. But I was overwhelmed when I first started. What I did was I hired a babysitter and I went to Starbucks and realized that it is so easy to learn. I just needed to give myself the space to learn it. And what's incredible is that, Jake and his team does an awesome job of providing that kind of support and that kind of learning as well. So don't let yourself be overwhelmed with like the very simple, like how-tos at the beginning, because the everything is there. But I will tell you that, we can upload and how do you get their birthdays? You guys, it's all in your back office. It's a beautiful thing. So one of my very simple campaigns on Project Broadcast is I will upload every so often all my new customers, and I can put their birthday into the, one of the slots. And again, like you will learn this, it's very simple, but I have a campaign for on their birthday. I reach out, funny little gif of me saying happy birthday. I hope you have an amazing day. Don't forget that you get $10 off for this full 30 days. And so not only do you have the reason to reach out, but you also have a gift for them, because here they get $10 off for 30 days on their birthday. So
Pretty low friction. I don't ever get upset with someone telling me happy birthday. Right? It's pretty uncommon for someone to get upset for that. And like Katie said, so on these calls, I don't actually teach Project Broadcast because it does a massive amount of things. It would be impossible to actually teach Project Broadcast on calls like this. So my goal is to always come on these calls and help people start thinking about the business and thinking about how texting can be incorporated into the business. And just know there really is a mountain of training. There's an entire website, training.projectbroadcast.com. That's our latest training. We call it Web School. There's, I think, 16 or 17 different training modules on that website. One of them is actually called Quick Start. That's the one I always tell people to do first, because it teaches you how to import contacts, how to create contacts manually, how to send what we call scheduled broadcast messages, which is like single message to a bunch of people, and then how to use our chat. And if you literally only knew those things, you could be very successful. It doesn't get into campaigns. It doesn't get into keywords. It doesn't get into configurable forms and trackable links and landing pages, which are all big, giant features in and of itself. It gives you what is the base stuff that you need to know to get started. And then there's, like I said, 16 or 17 total modules on that website. Now, those are not video based. Those are screenshot, step-by-step type training. So you may do a training on dynamic fields, for example, which is how you insert like people's name or other information. And you're like, man, Jake, I'm still not understanding dynamic fields. That's okay. In the app, there's an area of training videos, and those training videos are 3 to 5 minutes long. And it's an actual video with my screen on the video and teaching you what that particular thing is. So you can do that video, and you may watch that dynamic fields video. Thick, I'm still not understanding dynamic fields. There's a Facebook group called Project Broadcast Bootcamp, and Project Broadcast Bootcamp has 16 or 17 videos in it. And each of those videos are like 30 to 45 minutes each. And those videos go very slowly, step by step, button by button to show you Project Broadcast. So I typically suggest start at Quick Start, because some things you'll just get from Quick Start. You'll understand templates, whatever. You'll go to the templates training on Quick Start. You're like, oh, I got that. I don't need anything more than that. But maybe there's some things that you learn on Quick Start. And you're like, I need a little bit more. And then I would go in the app and watch the video on that thing, because it's a short video, 3 to 5 minutes long. And if you still need additional stuff, you go to Bootcamp. And if you know that you're going to need a lot of hand holding, and that there's nothing wrong with that, maybe you're not very technical. If you know you're going to need a lot of hand holding, you can just jump into Bootcamp and do Bootcamp. like Katie said it, and Katie probably did boot camp because it takes time. It's an investment. But if you join boot camp and go through those videos and do the homework, we used to do a survey when people like came into boot camp. And I think we've had like, I don't know, 14, 15,000 people go through boot camp. When they would come into boot camp, we used to have a survey and it would say from a scale of 1 to 10, noob to ninja, where are you in Project Braodcast? Like, how do you, what's your knowledge? And the average answer was a 2. And then we would ask the same question at the end of the last module of boot camp, and the average answer was an 8. So if you go through boot camp, you'll know Project Braodcast. You won't know all the features because we don't go over everything in boot camp, but you'll know the core features of Project Braodcast. But if you are slightly technical, I would start with Quick Start, and you might find that going through Quick Start, it just snaps and you get it. But there's 3 levels of training. And then there's always our Project Braodcast Facebook group, which is a generic Facebook group that we keep company agnostic. So we let people ask questions in that group, get help, but we don't let people post what company they're with in their messaging. That way it's a safe space for everybody. But as we get traction in different companies, like with Modere, we actually have a Facebook group specifically for Modere folks. So if you're not in that Facebook group, join that. And that's where you can ask very specific, like, hey, here's my message I'm sending out on the BOGO today. Can someone give me feedback? Or, hey, I'm looking for a consultant onboarding campaign. Does anyone have one that they want to share? Like, that's where you'll do like very specific, collaboration with each other inside that Facebook group. That's what it's there for.
And it's what's incredible is that, having been a member of a couple of different groups like that, now you can ask questions and you'll get support from everybody, but a lot of times you'll get like support from Project Braodcast. And that was kind of one of my like big woes, getting responses from Jake early on. You guys are, I don't know how you do it, but it's really exceptional how like hands-on you are with it.
A lot of clones. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I do get messages from people all the time, and they're like, how are you answering messages in all these groups? And I'm like, I'm at the keyboard all day. And yes, I have a bunch of other stuff to do, but I think it's really important as a company that even I am answering support tickets, even I'm answering Facebook messages, because it just keeps me kind of in the trenches with people and I can really know what's happening. I think in order for us to drive the company in the right way, I can't be like on this ivory tower and not be interacting with customers. I need to be doing this. Like, this is how we grow to provide better product and better support to you guys. So if you haven't used Project Braodcast, and I hope Katie can attest to this, you will not get support anywhere like you get with Project Braodcast.
Yeah. And I can say 1,000,000,000%. So yeah. Just the fact that you're on this call with us is just amazing. And yeah, you just won't. It's really incredible. And I mean, I've put ideas out there that have, been considered, and just like, just all that stuff, you guys. So, and somebody mentioned that they send a birthday voice clip, right? And what I love so much about pointing this out is that this isn't just, it's not a business number that is just like a fake business number. Like, you can send voice messages now, which is really, I mean, again, if people are wondering what this new number from you is, it's just one of those things that helps them see that this is truly like, it's you on the other end of it. And the voice messages have been really fun to utilize. And then just the support built into the program, where if you send a message and you're kind of like, is this good or not? A lot of times, you can send it to your team and see what they would think. But just in the app itself, it'll say like, hey, first of all, this is really long. You're using salesy language.
Yeah. Or you have a bit.ly link and it totally won't let your message go out. Yeah. Yeah, we were one of the, I think other providers are starting to do this, but I think we were the first provider to build basically like a message quality checker for you. We call it Message Insights. And there are certain things that we know will cause your message to get flagged as spam. Like, we know 100% if you send a message on like CBD, for example, AT&T is blocking that message. It is not, they're not sending that to their customers. So we check for like words like gummies and hemp and CBD. And if we see that type of content, we don't even let it leave our system. And Bitly is another great example. Tiny URLs, Bitly links. Carriers hate short links, hate them. And when you're sending messages at volume, maybe when you send just one message from your cell phone, it's not a problem. But when you're sending messages at volume, carriers will block you immediately for sending Bitly links or tiny URLs. So Project Braodcast won't let a message with a Bitly link even leave our system. And it's not because, it actually is better for us because then we charge you, right? If it leaves our system, we charge you. Well, but if you get blocked, you're going to be ticked off and not be a Project Braodcast user. So it's really to protect you. Like if there's a Bitly link, we won't let it go out, and we call it potential spam. And then we don't charge you credits for that. That way you get to recraft the message without that link or without that, those content words that are in there and resend it to your audience. So we really try to like guide you, like Katie's saying, guide you in your messaging as best we can. There's still things you have to consider. Like you have to make sure you have your branding in there, and you have to have opt-out language, right? These are just kind of rules of sending messages at volume. But we're constantly trying to evolve the product in ways that, I'll give you a good example. Like it's a real simple example. My wife works all the time at like 1 or 2 in the morning, like all the time. And I would see her she would be using Project Braodcast, and she'd be scheduling what are called broadcast messages to send a message to like Sally. And I'm like, why is she doing that? Like, and I'm like, oh, she don't want to send it to Sally now. Like she can't text Sally at 2 a.m. So we actually built a feature into Project Braodcast that when you're in the chat area, you can type a message to Sally and then just click one button and then say, I want this single little chat message to go to Sally tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
And it's amazing. Like that feature is so, because I'm the same way, and I'll get in there at 11 o'clock at night.
And you want to respond.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, I know what I want to say, so I'm going to go ahead and type it, but I can't send it right now because it's 11 o'clock. So we're constantly evolving the product like that. We added a feature, it's been a while ago, called contests. I used to see people do vendor events, and they would get a clipboard and then go home and type that in Excel and then upload it to random.org and they pick a winner. And I'm like, that is a lot of work just to tell someone they won, a $10 coupon or something. So we built this feature called contests in Project Braodcast, where you can create a contest, add as many contacts as you want to it, and then just pick a winner. And if you want to pick 3 winners, you can pick as many winners as you want, and it'll pick a random person each time, and it won't pick the same person twice. So we're always looking for ways to evolve the product in a way that helps this industry. Yes, it helps other people, and that's totally cool. But how do we make this industry more powerful for you guys? So
our mind is just blown over this contest because none of us know anything about it.
It's a great feature. Like what I tell people to do now for prospecting, I'll give you a little tip for a prospecting tip. So you mark it on your social platform, whatever you use, TikTok, Insta, whatever, and you have them text a keyword. And the keyword doesn't enter them into the drawing. The keyword responds with a reply that says, I'm so excited. Let's use BioCell as an example. I'm so excited you want to, win a free month of BioCell. In order to, be entered in the drawing, click this link and fill out your info. That link is a configurable form in Project Braodcast, and it forces them to give you their first name, their last name, and whatever else you want to collect on them. And when they fill out the form, it triggers another keyword called whatever, BioCell raffle done, that just sends them a thank you. Hey, I got your info. We're going to pick a winner today at 4. I'll let you know if you win. Well, guess what? You now have anyone who filled out a form in a tag called BioCell raffle done. You can go to a contest, add everyone from that tag to the contest, and pick a winner in like, I don't know, maybe 10 seconds. And you've used it as a prospecting tool too, right? You funneled people from social eyeballs to texting you, to giving you information. And now you can pick a winner and let the winner know that they won. And the other people that didn't win, you can reach out to them because they gave you enough information for you to follow up and say, hey, you didn't win, but here's a $10 right? Here's a $10 off for you to get your month on me, right?
Oh my gosh. I like that is so
And that's
so
why
good.
this is why I like again, these calls to me are more about like, how could you use it? Like, how could you strategize and use texting in the business? And then just know mountains of training available for you if you decide to jump in.
And I have to say that, like, while some of those things, configurable form, keyword, if you're new, brand new, or never used Project Broadcast, they might not make a lot of sense. But what he just said to me makes complete sense. And I know that I could train it to someone in 5 minutes. I just need to find this contest thing. But I know Project Broadcast, and I know it'll be very easy.
It's in the morning.
Yeah, like I know that anybody can do exactly what he just said, and I will create a 5-minute trading on it as soon as I'm done with this.
And like Katie said, the voicemail drops are becoming really popular too, because a lot of times when people get a text message, even for your business, they do question like, yeah, but is that really Katie that sent me that, you know? And our voicemail drops allow you to record a voicemail and then send that just like you would any other message in Project Broadcast. And it actually leaves the message as a voicemail on their phone, as if you called them and left them a voicemail. So a good use of that is you recording some generic voicemails like, hey there, it's Jake. I just wanted to make sure you got my text. Give me a shout when you have a minute. I'm not using their name. It's very personal because it's my voice, and it's very generic. So I can use that voicemail drop intermingled with my text messages so that they get this, right, this perception that they are working with me. They're talking to me. This is my real phone number. And you can send voicemail drops at scale, right? You could record a voicemail for a promo, or maybe you want to teach about something about the product and send it to 100 people. And each person gets, you know, a voicemail in their phone's voicemail. And they think you called them. Like, they're on their missed calls, it'll have your Project Broadcast phone number.
So cool. I love just being able to show up in voicemails too, you know? And I mean, if you think about it, you could just easily do that, you know, with anybody who ordered in November. Like, I want to thank you again for, I know a lot of us are sending out $25 gift cards to those who ordered in November. So I just wanted to thank you again for your order in November, and know to be on the lookout for your gift card that'll be coming in the mail in the next couple of weeks. Again, very easy. You can send that without their name in it for as many people as you need to. And it's just, it gives them that feeling that you're really there, and
it's really you.
And it's really you. And
even in Project Broadcast, there's a call forwarding feature. If you want to, you can go in the More tab and you can literally put your actual phone number in the call forwarding settings. And then when someone calls your Project Broadcast number, it forwards to your personal cell. They never see your personal cell. So it becomes a business line. You can text from it. You can receive phone calls. You can even, like, say Katie and I are in conversation on Project Broadcast. I can even click a button and say, call her. And then it will first call me at my call forwarding number, and it'll say, press 1 to continue. And I press 1. And then the system calls Katie, but it's calling her from my Project Broadcast number. And then it merges the two calls together. So that person sees me calling them from my Project Broadcast number. So it literally becomes a full-blown business phone number instead of using your personal number.
I want to say really quick too, that this is one of my very favorite things that I first realized about Project Broadcast was that it was my virtual office. And so where in Messenger and Instagram and these other apps, even your text messages, that's all very much merged with your life, right? I go into Project Broadcast and I'm not being, yeah, it's work time. And that's what I'm doing. And to have it all kept in that one space was a huge blessing from me right out of the gate, because it wasn't mixed up with other things. I wasn't getting easily distracted. And when I started really viewing it that way, it was like, wow, this is awesome. Like, I can set aside, 30 minutes, an hour, and I'm going into Project Broadcast. I'm dealing with what is there, and I'm planning what I'm doing next.
Well, there's two things I'll add to that. Like, I think one of the things you learn very quickly when you're a Project Broadcast user is that sending a message is not work. It's very easy. to craft a message and send it to 1,000 people. That's actually not work. The real work is when those 1,000 people start replying. And now you need to be like ready to sit down for a bit and actually engage with those people and respond, because that will happen. I literally remember one of the first times my wife sent out a big message. She has a really large organization, 15,000 people, and she sends out a message to her whole team. And she's like, wow, that was really easy. And I was like, oh, you're about to get it. And literally for the next 3-4 hours, she's at her laptop answering responses from people that responded to her message. And I'm like, that's the real work. And you want that work, because that engagement, right? That community building, that relationship building, that's actually what drives the business, not the giant message you send out to everyone. If you send out a giant message to everyone and no one responds, that, to me, again, I'm opinionated, that was a failure because they didn't engage with your content in any kind of way. The other thing I'll say is that when you're looking at, I guess the feature set, and we've talked about a few of the features today, start with like the business, right? Like, how could I use this in the business? And if you don't have a need for it, like, what's something stupid, like the assistant password. If you don't have an assistant, don't look at that feature. Don't let that burden you that you need to learn that, because you don't have an assistant. So who cares what that feature does? But let's say you want to make sure you're not sending messages late at night. You're like, man, that's really important to me. Well, there's a feature called broadcast hours, and you can literally set effectively office hours in Project Broadcast so that, if you don't want messages going out on Sundays or after 9 p.m. or whatever, you can set those hours so that the system doesn't send messages at those times. So look at the features and first say, like, how am I going to use this in the business? And if it's not something you need right now, don't use it. Learn it later. And there's actually another feature in broadcast hours we added just for our industry. So I don't know if it's only, I'm going to paint with a really broad brush. Okay. Predominantly network marketers and direct sellers are ladies, right? I think the number's like 95%, which means there's probably a spouse on the other side of that team. And I used to go nuts when I would like ask my wife out to dinner, or we'd go to a movie, and then we're literally like at the dinner table and she gets a message from someone and she's like, oh, this will take just a second. Oh, just 1 minute. Right. And then I'm talking to like the top of her head, which is beautiful top of her head, but I'm talking to like the top of her head at dinner. So we added a feature in broadcast hours, and it's just a checkbox, and it's called pause broadcasting. And I jokingly call it the husband button, because if I take Christy out to dinner, I can just say, hey, go pause your Project Broadcast, so that she has hours set, but the pause button at the top says, I don't care what this says. I don't want you to send messages right now, Project Broadcast. And I can go have dinner with her and not worry about, there's like tons of messaging happening, behind the scenes that she feels she has to go respond to. And then after dinner, she can uncheck it and, go about answering those questions. So she drives, I watch her a lot, and a lot of the features honestly come from like my interaction, even with how she runs her business. I'm like, you know what? I need a way to pause this thing so that I can actually have dinner and talk to her face, not the top of her head. And it's worked out great.
You just go in and pause it for her. Oh,
I've done that. Yeah. I think there's stuff like that we really try to think about, like, it's holistically, like, how does it help the business? Because there are some features that aren't even text-based. Like we added attachments recently, and attachments let you upload like a PDF and then send that to people. And we did that because we were seeing a lot of users struggling with the idea of, I got to upload like a document to Google Drive or Dropbox and then send a link to that through Project Broadcast. And we were like, man, we can help people with that. We can solve that. Let's have our own little mini Dropbox, so to speak, where you can upload attachments and then you can send that attachment to people in a message. It isn't really a texting feature, so to speak. It's really about, how do we enable you guys to be successful in your business, right?
Yeah, I didn't know about that either, and that's amazing.
It's brand new. I think it's only that's like a week old.
That's huge, because I mean, yeah, I can't even tell you, in the last month, I feel like I've actually like realized that this is my process, is to upload Google Docs and then create a link, and that's exactly it. So that's amazing. A week old. That's so awesome. You have the landing pages.
Which, you crushed for Cyber Monday, Black Friday, by the way. Congrats on that.
That was so fun.
Yeah.
Yet another tool. I had no idea, you guys. Project Braodcast, when you open up the app and when you're first in it, it's so simple. And that's what I love so much about it. So when Jake brought this idea of landing page and what this new tool was and told me about it, I was like, wow, that sounds really cool. I'm thinking like Linktree simplicity. And what I love so much about Project Braodcast is the simplicity. Like, it's very easy to see exactly what you're doing, where you're going, you know exactly where to find tools. I was not expecting the beauty and scope of the landing pages that we have. And so what it is it's essentially a mini website for you to create. And they have them designed for you. And it's simple, right? But you can complicate it as much as you want, because you're basically building a site and or just using what they have already created for you and inputting your links to where you want to go. So, I don't want to get too deep in it, but I do want to say it's amazing. Like I realized that I could
do as many as you want.
And it's a website, like it's your own little website, whether it's about website. I mean, you could create a Christmas card and talk about, what your family's got going on, or you can do, again, like there's so much. My brain could go crazy on this, but no.
That's where I like though, where people do interesting things. I had a girl, it was like 2 years ago, but she built a scavenger hunt with keywords for her husband's birthday. So she uses it for her team, but then she was like, she wanted to do something cool. So she literally built a scavenger hunt where each keyword was like the answer to the to get to the next thing. And it was a scavenger hunt that she did with her husband on his birthday. And then I was talking to a lady in a direct sales company that was doing this big team event, but they hadn't had a team event in like a year and a half because of COVID. And she's like, man, I'm really trying to think of how to get these people engaged before they come to the event. So I told her about the scavenger hunt thing that this lady did for her husband, and she did that for her whole team. So she built a scavenger hunt for her team to like answer questions about product and the company and stuff. And then the last, clue, they only could get the day of the event when everyone was in person. So everyone kind of comes to the event, and they're all like, their icebreaker is to do this last, clue in the scavenger hunt. And it was a huge hit. It was really, it got people talking and having fun. And it was all through Project Braodcast, which I thought was pretty cool.
That's so fun. I mean,
like you said, like landing pages, people do newsletters. We have a ton of folks in like Pampered Chef. They'll do recipe cards where they'll build a recipe on a landing page and send that to people. You can use it for prospecting. Like you might want to do, like for you guys, like before and afters for like Trim or BioCell, where you have, a landing page just about before and afters that people can go look at. You can do so many things with it because it's effectively a little mini website, and you can create as many of them as you want and even know when people click them to go view them. So you can get usage information to know what the engagement's like on that particular landing page. So a ton of stuff. And if you're glassed over because of all the features we're talking about, it's totally normal. It happens to everybody. That's why I always say that these calls are really about just getting your brain moving and thinking about texting, and Project Braodcast is the tool for you to use. And then all the things we're talking about, landing pages and campaigns and keywords, like Katie said, there's a bunch of training for that. And I'm going to hop in because I've seen the chat going berserk. Katie, are there questions that I've missed that we need to cover?
Oh my gosh, I'm sure there are. I just put the landing page that Jake helped me figure out how to create.
You did it though. I helped you. You had like 2 problems, but you built it.
So if you saw it, you probably didn't if you saw it last month as a resource for us, you probably didn't realize that it was a landing page. It just seemed like some really cool website that somebody put together for you. It was a very simple landing page that I created in Project Braodcast to help put all of our resources in just one place.
You're a web developer now.
Basically, I mean.
All right. I'm looking to see if I've missed anything.
Catalog of all these great ideas.
I see a
I
lot
know.
of kudos though. Like voice drop is money. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we're excited about. I
We'll do
knew
that
I knew
function.
you were going to give me something that was going to blow my mind that I had no clue about, and I'm just like files, contests, and you've touched on the keyword. What I love so much too is there's a tagging system in Project Broadcast. So, it's going to be impossible to explain all the things that you can do with that, but just know that like if I want to upload my customers from last month, and that's a report we can pull in our back office, and I'm going to upload them to Project Broadcast, they're already in there. It's not going to clone, it's not going to make a duplicate of them. It's just simply going to update the people in there. And I'm just going to put November 2021. And that's going to put them in this tag where it doesn't change any of their prior tags. They're an active customer, they're on Smart Ship, they're, whatever it is, but it's created a new tag for them so that then I can go and just message those people whatever I would like. It is that simple. Same with new team members. I have all of my team in Project Broadcast, but I want to know like who my new team members are for November. And maybe I have a campaign that automatically drips them some encouragement and things, that they should know about getting started in the business. So they're still going to get all of my normal team messages, but they're also going to get these additional, based on when they came in, timely messages. And so real quick, can we just go over the different types of like just simple campaigns? Because I think that just for the beginners, understanding what they have access to right off the bat on like the very like low level with the different types of campaigns is going to be really helpful. I know we only have a few minutes.
I'm gonna answer some of these other ones really quickly.
Yes,
So someone said, is it an app? Yes, there's an app for iOS and Android, but you can also use Project Broadcast in your browser. You can go to projectbroadcast.com once you have your account and log in there. All the same features are on mobile and web. So yes, you can use it on any of those platforms. Can you have multiple tags? Yes, we don't limit you to contacts or tags. If you want to have 10,000 contacts, I don't care. If you want to have 10,000 tags, I don't care. We don't limit any of that in Project Broadcast. I think that's okay. Those are the ones I saw that were immediate. Now on campaigns, we support many different campaign types. When you create a campaign, the two big messagings in Project Broadcast are what we call scheduled broadcasts. That's a single message to a bunch of people. Think of that like, let's say you have a VIP list and you tell people, hey, if you want to be on my VIP list, text VIP to this number. They text VIP, they get put in a tag called VIP. And let's just say you want to send a message to all your VIPs. That's a scheduled broadcast. You'll go schedule a broadcast, add all the people from the VIP tag and send it. That's called a scheduled broadcast. A campaign is when you want to send multiple messages to a person over some period of time. A good example of that would be, let's say you wanted to build a 30-day new consultant onboarding. And anytime you get a new consultant, you want to put them in your 30-day onboarding campaign where every day you show them like, go post this on Insta, go post this on Facebook. Here's a graphic you can use with your friends and whatever, right? So you're going to send them a message every day for 30 days. That's a campaign. We support many different types of campaigns. One is a drip, what we call a drip campaign. Those are great for follow-up. They're great for onboarding. Like if you wanted to do a 2-day, 2-week, 2-month follow-up system, that would be a drip campaign. Because I want to add Sally to it today and the system schedule a 2-day, 2-week, 2-month message to her. And then I'm going to add Billy to it 6 months from now. And it's going to schedule the 2-day, 2-week, 2-month message. That's a drip. Then we have time-lapse campaigns. Time-lapse campaigns are used really heavily right now for text parties. Let's say you wanted to have a text party on trim. You would create a campaign about why trim's awesome and how they can go buy it. You would go market on Facebook, social media, TikTok, wherever. Hey, if you want to learn more about trim, text trim to this phone number. And a time-lapse campaign is where the messages are sent on what's called a pure delay. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. So what a lot of people will do is they'll set up, 6 messages and it'll send a message every 10 minutes. So you get basically an hour long, class, party, whatever you want to call it, about a product. That's where time lapse is really useful. We then have calendar campaigns. A calendar campaign is really great if you have like a specific event that's coming up, conference, or maybe you're hosting a class or whatever. It's some event, even maybe just a team get together, or maybe it's a team Zoom call that you got scheduled. That's where you know specific dates and specific times, and you want to schedule 3, 4, 5 messages leading up to that event. That's what a calendar campaign's for. We then have a repeating campaign. That's where you type a single message and then it repeats either daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly. It's used really, I see it mainly used for 2 things. One is people will pick a date, like call it the 27th, because every single month has a 27 in it, right? And they'll send a text message to remind leaders about what needs to get done before end of month. That way they're not, well, inevitably you're still the last day of the month, like, working your tail off till midnight or later, depending on how your company does.
No, not us.
So, no, never. So I see it used a lot for that. The other thing that I see it used a lot for, and this doesn't work for every company, but for some companies, they have like an auto ship type program. Does Modera do like a monthly ship kind of thing, Katie?
Yeah, we do, but it's based on like they get to change when.
But is it the same day each month?
Yes, but I mean, it could be, but they're able to change their dates kind of.
Oh, so maybe it may not work for you guys, but like what some companies will do is they'll create repeating campaigns on like the 3rd, and they want to make sure that everyone that is before the 3rd gets a message that their auto ship or whatever term they use for their company is coming up, right? Then we have anniversary campaigns. This is super useful for sending that annual message to either a customer or a team member. I think you should have at least 2 different campaigns. The way you communicate to a customer is different than the way you communicate to a team member. That just thanks them for either being a customer for another year or thanks them for being on your team for another year. And then the same thing with birthday. We have a birthday style campaign where you can send a birthday message. Same thing. I think there should be 2 birthday campaigns, one for customers and one for team members, because again, you may disagree. I think the way you communicate to team members on like their birthday versus a customer is totally different. Your gift to a team member on their birthday is your time. It should be, it's your birthday. I want to celebrate you. I love to talk with you about what your goals are for the next year in the business. When's a good time to chat? That's the gift. The gift isn't, a $10 coupon to a team member. Now to a customer, it's probably going to be more of a product focused offering, right? Like, it's your birthday. I'm so excited for you. You know what? Here's a $10 coupon or $25 coupon or whatever off your next purchase, right? So you'll communicate with them slightly different. Those are I think that's all the campaign types. So there's 6 or 7 different campaign styles, we'll call them, that you can create in Project Braodcast, depending on, what kind of messaging you want to send.
Yeah, I love that. And so, for example, every new customer of mine gets a thank you for your order text.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get check in on, when have you checked your shipping? And on the 26th day is when I remind them that if they're in auto ship, that they'll want to check it out. And I let them know how to do all of that, right? And give them the benefits of Smart Ship. So
make it fun, like make one of those messages. What's been your favorite product so far? Hey, I'd love to hear how the product's working for you. Shoot me a quick before and after, or tell me, engage with them, right?
Exactly. I love it. Okay. So can you talk to us? Cause you mentioned like, you'll get charged when the message leaves the system. So let's talk about that. Like you're not getting a charge to your credit card. So
so the way Project Braodcast works is you sign up for a subscription, and our subscriptions start at $15. All plans have the exact same features. The only difference is how many messages you want to send each month. And our starter plan is our kind of entry level plan, and that gives you what's called 500 credits. each time you send a message, so say I schedule a broadcast to 100 people, that's 100 credits. Okay. When they respond to me, those are called incoming messages. We don't charge you for those. And when you're in conversation with someone one-on-one, like say I send that 100-person message out and then Katie responds to me and she and I are kind of chatting back and forth one-on-one, we don't charge credits for that either. So your keywords, your campaigns, your scheduled broadcast, that's what we'll use your credits. The starter plan is 500 credits. It's $15 a month. And then it goes to the business plan, which I think is $25 and gives you 1,000 credits per month. So just depending on how many messages you want to send each month, you'll pick a plan that suits that messaging need. And then I also told Katie, because I don't know why Katie and I kind of synced up a few times and she's always fun to work with. So I told her I was going to hook you guys up. I normally do a referral code when I do these kind of calls, and Katie's been awesome. If you guys, know her personally, she is super fun, and anybody that has a ukulele has got to be fun. So, I told her, I was like, I'll hook you guys up. So I created a referral code for you guys. If you go sign up and you put in MO-2022, so maybe type that in the chat for me, Katie. If you put MO- and do lowercase mo, MO-2022, it's going to give you a bonus award of 1,500 credits added to your account. So let's just say you sign up for the starter plan, which is 500 credits. It's going to give you the 500 credits, and then it's just going to add 1,500 credits to your bank of credits. So it's kind of like getting 3 months of, well, not kind of, it's like getting 3 months of Project Broadcast added to your account. So your plan will renew each month. And if you don't use them all, they roll over. They don't go anywhere. So you get these credits, and let's just say you only use 300 credits the first month. That's okay, because what you didn't use just rolls over to the next month, and they keep building up as your business grows. You'll use them. Or maybe there's a sale, a BOGO, a flash, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, where you need a lot more messaging. You'll have them kind of banked up so that you don't have to purchase additional credits as the business grows.
Yeah, they roll over. And I started with the basic plan, and then, I have a larger plan now.
Yeah, it kind of happens that way.
But that's because it's been so exceptional for my business, and it's a billion times, you can really leverage this and have it pay for itself very easily. And that's what's so amazing and beautiful. So can you repeat how credits get used? So
yeah, when you send, so every outgoing message in Project Broadcast uses a credit, meaning if you schedule a broadcast to 10 people, that's 10 credits. If you create say you created a campaign with 5 messages in it, and then you add 5 people to the campaign, that's 5 people, each getting 5 messages, that's 25 credits. Incoming messages don't cost any credits. And when you're in a one-to-one conversation with people via our chat tab, there's a little chat bubble icon. So like Katie, just back and forth one-to-one, that doesn't use credits either. That's called unlimited chat. It used to cost credits, and then we made it not cost credits because we were seeing people send a message, and then the person would respond, and then they would reply and say, hey, I'm going to text you from this other phone number, which is a horrible experience for the customer. So we now have unlimited chat for everyone. So if you're in that one-to-one conversation, it doesn't use credits. Yeah. And then the voicemail drops are 2 credits per voicemail. We use a third-party provider for that technology, and it just costs more. So that those are 2 credits per successful voicemail drop.
Yeah, when you guys changed that, within the chat, that was, I mean, because yeah, that was huge. I mean, you're constantly shifting with what everybody needs. And I'm so thankful for your wives who get to keep you guys in the know and help us. Like, it's amazing.
Well, sometimes we'll even think of features, and I'll say, hey, Christy, I want to walk you through this feature. And she'll, the great thing is I've been married, 20 plus years. So she'll be very quick to say, oh, that's going to be awesome. Or that's never going to work, dude. People aren't going to use that. So there's features that, they're on the clipping room floor, they call it, because we thought it would be great. And then people in the field are like, no, we don't, businesses don't do that. So we don't build those things.
I love it. It's been, yeah. Well, thank you. I cannot thank you enough. Like that is such an awesome way to start, you guys. I mean, that's huge. And I did not expect that at all. I just, getting to connect with you. I mean, from the beginning, it's been amazing, but I just so appreciate, just the opportunity the last couple of times we've chatted and just how much you've helped me with, when I was creating the site for November, I was with Jake going like, okay, how is this? Am I doing this right? Like, did I mess something up? And just that alone was absolutely amazing. And I'm just so glad for those of you who got to be here, got to learn. I did record it, so don't worry, you can share with your teams. How long will this amazing code last for?
So this is the other thing I did for you. Here's my belief, okay? December, and this may not be the same for Modere, but traditionally, December is a little slower than most months, right? And it's because we go real hard in November, and I think kids are getting out of school, we've got holidays, but that's a really good time for you to like invest some time in learning. So usually these codes are only good for 48 hours. I made it available till the end of the year. So you've got till the end of December to decide if you want to get onto Project Braodcast, because maybe you need time to think about it. You use that code so that you get 1,500 free credits added to your account and go invest, the time in going through the training. So you've got till December 31st.
That is so amazing. And you might have heard this. We're saying amongst our teams, like, December doesn't have to be a reset. It doesn't have to be a wrap up. Use it as a setup.
Yes.
And this is a way to get set up like 1,000,000,000%. I think as a team and as like other teams, wherever you're coming from, again, there's so much support for you. But I know that as leaders, somebody asked, like, did somebody already can we buy a template for this, that, and the other? Another beautiful aspect of this is that we can share bundles. So I'm sure that your team leaders and whatnot will be sharing bundles for maybe their customer campaign, and they can add a birthday campaign, and you'll just use that code and put it into import bundle. It's very simple. And you'll get all of their templates for
copy, so you can change it. So if you need to tweak it, maybe it's not your exact way you would say it, it's your copy. So when you import that bundle of content from your upline, you can modify it and then use it, for your business. So another thing, again, that we think about in terms of direct sales and network marketing, some people want to really do the business. They're not great at content, but their upline is, or someone in the business is that they can get content from. We let you share content across any user in Project Braodcast. So, and it's a copy. That way you can change it. Even landing pages, right? Landing pages are you can put those in bundles. So if you got someone, hint, who's phenomenal at building landing pages, they could build a cool landing page and share it with people. And then they have their own copy to go play with.
Every time I'm like, Jake, what about this? And then he'll be like, oh yeah, no, you can do this. And I'm like, what? Are you serious? So yeah, if I can share a landing page, or somebody can create a landing page, give you that code, and then it's yours. And as I change my own, it's not going to affect you, and you can change and do whatever you want with it. And it's going to be yours completely. I feel like you guys have thought of everything. Tracy has a question, and I know it's going to be a good one.
No, it's not. It's a little techie, and I'm sorry.
It's not a good question, Tracy.
Well, it's going to confuse other people, but I need to know the answer before you leave.
Okay.
Is there a way to trigger from a texting campaign going back, also trigger an email sequence?
Okay, not yet.
Okay.
So we are working on adding additional channels to Project Braodcast, but I'll give you a little nugget. When you build landing pages in Project Braodcast, we actually built landing pages so that in the future, you can actually send a full landing page as an email, and it renders perfectly in their email. So in the future, we'll have email as a channel, and you'll be able to send email no different than texting, no different than text messaging. And we're actually exploring a couple other channels as well. One of them is WhatsApp.
Yeah.
We think that for international, the the best way to start going international is probably providing a WhatsApp integration, because texting internationally, most people don't know this, but again, forget Project Broadcast. If you send a text message from the US today and say you're sending it to someone in Australia, if it's a multimedia message or like a picture, high likelihood doesn't get delivered. The texting infrastructure between countries is actually horrific. So we don't want to get in that game and have poor delivery. So we are looking at providing WhatsApp integration so that you can do international if you wanted to, and emails super high on that list as well for multi-channel.
Okay, great.
And but since you mentioned that too, so you're obviously a little techie. If you are techie on this call, if you're using other third-party tools like Google Forms or Jot Forms or Google Sheets as a part of your prospecting, Project Broadcast also has a Zapier app, if you're familiar with Zapier.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can use, it's another tool, we don't own it, it's called Zapier, and it lets you connect systems together that don't know about each other. So let's just say you've already got a form on a website, like a Google form that goes to a Google Sheet. You could actually connect that with Zapier to add contacts into Project Broadcast, put them in campaigns, send messages to them. So you could do a lot with the Zapier app. If you don't have any idea what I'm talking about, just ignore what I just said because it doesn't affect you.
Okay. Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. That wasn't a dumb question.
No, I didn't think it was dumb. I just thought it's going to send people like on a sideways, which I do not want to do.
Oh, no, you're totally fine. Is Project Broadcast effective in Canada? Yes. So the two countries we support today are the US and Canada. Go ahead, Sean.
First of all, we love this tool. We use it with our team the whole time, and it's been a game changer. So it is absolutely amazing. Really appreciate all their help.
Yeah, thank you.
You mentioned the Facebook page. Could you give us the address? Because I was trying to search that up, but I couldn't find it. Facebook page specific for Modere.
Yeah, I didn't actually create the Modere one. Let me go look. It is. Where is it? Well, hang on. Let me go find the group now.
You can also just send it to me if
Yeah. So that's fine too, and she can put it out to people.
Yeah, I have to go find. So most of the groups we actually create and manage. I did not create the Modere one. I'm in it. I've got a link for it. Hang on, let me just go to my groups. I can get it probably from there.
you're going to get a lot of people in there today.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to go find it. I don't see it in my list of recent groups. I'll find it, Katie, and send it to you. And if you don't mind, send that to Sean and whoever else needs it.
Yeah, I'll get it to all the elites, and then we'll get it out to you guys.
Yeah.
And if you're in my online training group, then I'll make sure that it's in there as well.
And it's really, it's a group for you guys. I mean, I participate in there when people have questions and I can add a little bit more color, but the goal at least is for those groups to kind of be like their own little micro community of, folks helping each other. So.
Yeah, that's terrific.
And it's great when it's specific to your business because it's just very helpful. I mean, I've experienced it in a few now, and you're going to know what people are talking about, and then you're going to learn things that you never knew, and ideas, and we can share bundles within there, and it's exceptional that they facilitate that for us.
Anything we missed, Katie?
I don't think so. I just am so thankful for your time. I thank you for all the time that you spent with me and this tool. I mean, honestly, I never could have imagined it. The thought of being able to do emails from the landing pages and basically like that, I'm just too excited about it to even, I'm like, okay, so I'm not going to spend $200 a month for what I was thinking I was going to have to do. I can sit tight. I can wait.
And just know we're not done. Like if you've been a Project Broadcast user for a while, we release features every few months, and we've got some pretty cool stuff in the works that we're going to just continue to roll out and add value to you guys. So you'll always see us trying to figure out how to make your lives easier, and we'll do that through Project Broadcast. So
we've got the best company creating the greatest tools and systems for us. And we've got Project Broadcast to help us really leverage everything that we have as well. And I can't believe it. I don't know why you guys are so awesome, but I'm really thankful for it.
Well, it's where our heart is. It's where we want to spend our time. And like I said, we have other big, clients and different industries, but this is where our heart is. So we try to pour as much of it as we can into this, right? Like,
And I always,
there's one thing that I know about network marketers, direct sales, social sellers. When something works, they will tell a gazillion people. And that's good for my business, because if you use Project Broadcast and it helps you with your business, and you're like, oh my God, if my team would just use this, our volume would be ridiculous. Guess what? You're going to tell your team about it, which does what? Helps me bring more customers to our platform. So it's a win-win for everyone. We build a great product. It helps you grow your business, and you help other people grow their business with our product. So I love that.
yeah, 100%. And I always have to throw this in. Please thank your wives for us, because we love them and we realize that they were so much of the inspiration behind all of this and continue to be. And I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the knowledge that you guys have in this business and in network marketing and what it gets to provide to us. Honestly, you guys, I don't think there's a single other tool out there that I can encourage people to use more than Project Broadcast. It's going to allow you to create those connections with people, not take the place of connecting with people. And that's really what it's all about, right?
I agree. Well, Katie, thank you for taking the time. And if you've been on with us this whole time, thank you for spending the time with us. Do not forget, use that MO-2022 code when you sign up. It's active till the end of the year. And then go do the training. So don't just sign up and then feel lost. Go do the training. Go to the training.projectbroadcast.com. There's training in the app, like I told you. And then there's training at the Project Broadcast Bootcamp. And if you have questions, you can always reach us at support@projectbroadcast.com. There's the main Project Broadcast Facebook group that you can join. And then I'll send Katie that link to the Modere specific one that I know exists.
All right, you
Awesome.
guys.
Thanks,
There's a couple
Katie.
of questions I'll get to outside of this call. And so just know if you feel like you're being ignored, you're not. And I just have to talk to Jake personally about them. And I'm just so excited for everybody. We'll be getting
Awesome.
all kinds of tools to you. And thank you, Jake, again, a million times over. Thank you all for joining us. Have an amazing Friday. December is a set your business
Love that.
up.
It's a setup, not a wrap up. That's awesome. I'm going to steal that, by the way, just so you know. We're using
I
that.
know. It's going to be a Project Broadcast campaign right now. So
I'll probably do a post in the main Project Broadcast group and probably use that terminology. I'm just letting you know that.
have it, run with it. I love it. I mean, it's
Awesome.
perfect. All right, you guys.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thank you.
See ya.